guys, Coach Brandon Krause here. Today I got some good information for you. It's going to help you prepare for your very first sparring session. All right, now if you're taking this seriously and you have competitive goals, you know, eventually the only way to continue to progress is to start sparring. At first with somebody that's better than you, that can help you and ease you into it, and eventually building yourself to spar somebody of like skill and size, in which it'll be much more competitive. So got some good information for you. So the first thing that you're going to have to do is get yourself equipped with all the proper safety equipment, all right? Coach Cliff here is getting ready to spar himself. And well, he's not going to spar himself, but he's going to spar with somebody. But as you see, the first thing he's putting on right now is that no foul protector, low blow protector. And for all the guys watching at home, I think you know the value of keeping the cash and prizes protected, right? But also what these do is these have a padding up where the bladder is and even on to the side of the hip, which are very dangerous shots to be hit with. And honestly, like, while nobody wants to get hit in their junk, the more dangerous shot is to be hitting your bladder, because you could have a risk of that bursting. So you definitely want to avoid that. So you're getting in there, you're getting ready to spar. You want to get a good coat of basic petroleum jelly, Vaseline, all over your face, help the gloves slide off, right? They got cocoa butter and things like that, but this is a very important tool.
All right, so I've applied Vaseline to all these sharp areas here, sharp cheekbones. And then I apply very lightly above the eyes, forehead, on my temples. That way my skin doesn't get cut when the glove pushes. And I got a really nice, well done, well-made mouthpiece here to protect my teeth. And when I bite down on my jaw. I put a little on my lips and a little on my beard as well. And then I've got hand wraps. Let your coach wrap your hands when you're gonna spar. Make sure they're good and tight. All right, so I am a master based on my age. I'm over 41, I don't look it. This says Masters on it. I really don't like this headgear because it's a little bit hard to see out of, but I spar with it because when I fight, I'm going to use the same headgear. But if you are if you're 35 and under, you need to have a headgear that says this on it in order to compete, and you might as well wear that for sparring as well. And then sometimes we recommend having these headgear. The pros tend to use them maybe 2 weeks before, so they avoid cuts. I tend not to like this because you don't always block the punches coming to your face. And sometimes these can cut you as well. But it does provide some protection for your face here.
So the lace-up gloves, I think, are going to be your best bet. But they make ones that are called hook and loop that have Velcro instead of these laces. But the laces are going to be more ergonomic to you specifically. And then one of the big factors that you're trying to avoid in sparring is cuts. And these laces can be very insidious when it comes to that. So you always want to put some tape around those laces, just to make sure that, just in case, that knot and those tape portions of the tape don't end up cutting your opponent.
And these are 16-ounce gloves, which I weigh 200 pounds, is appropriate for 200 pounds. We let some people spar in 14s when they get lighter, smaller. But 16s are kind of the standard for pros and amateurs. Good protection for the hands. Maybe a little softer punching. One tip, if the gloves are older, these gloves look older than they really should be. I always check the pad, make sure the pad is strong. Every once in a while these crack. If they're cracked or they got a crush mark in them, don't use them anymore. You can use them on the bag, don't use them to spar. Throw them away, don't use them with drills.
So things to expect in your very first sparring session are, you know, you're gonna have a little nerves. You know, there's no way to get over it. It's your first time in there. You have a lot of anticipation and a lot of ideas and strategy in your head, and that anticipation is going to show its way maybe sometimes in the form of nervous energy. Speaking of energy, the second thing I want to tell you is you will get tired. You'll get very tired. It'll probably be one of the more exhausting things you've ever done if you're not used to this type of combat and this type of quick decision making that is necessary up there. Your very first time in the ring, Hopefully your coach is smart enough to put you in there with somebody with a lot more experience than you that's going to help you work and help you ease into it and not hurt you and not try to show their ego by proving how much better they are than you. But eventually you'll be building yourself to the point where you're boxing against somebody of like skill level and like size, which will be much more competitive. Another thing you want to expect that a lot of people lose sight of is that you're going to get hit. It's going to happen. Your opponent is going to land shots on you. You're going to land shots on your opponent. Don't think that there's a situation where you do all the punching and the shot never gets you back. Like any other sport, like anything else, a basketball game ends in a score of 98 to 96. A baseball game ends in 5 runs to 3 runs, and your spar will be the same way. As much success as you have in there, your opponent's going to have a little success also. So most gyms are equipped with a gym timer similar to the one I have here. The round just ended, right, and that is signified by the red light, obviously. You saw before that happened, the yellow light was on, and that's the warning that your round is coming to an end. In the gym, in most gyms, for the sparring, that's going to ring about 30 seconds before the round ends, but in a competition, they let you know 10 seconds before the competition. We have the option here to put things on either 3-minute rounds or 2-minute rounds, depending on the time frame we have and depending on our athletes' endurance level. But you want to build yourself to the gym kind of minimum of 3-minute rounds. You don't even want to have your opponent gear up for putting on everything if you don't want to go those 3 rounds. So initially, your goal is really just to get through that hurdle of your first sparring session. Don't worry about winning or dominating or anything like that. Worry about getting up there and practicing the things that your coach and you have been going over and trying to put that to practice, all right? And eventually you'll get to the point where these sparring sessions will be integral in you developing certain parts of your game, strategy, tactics, conditioning, all that type of stuff. And you got to remember that this is not the competition. This is gearing you up for the competition, right? And so you don't want to get all used up in the gym. You don't want to get all damaged in these sparring sessions. So while you have to have an amount of ego to get in that ring in the first place, you want to check it a little bit and humble yourself a little bit, which is going to happen anyway. Some final thoughts are, everybody on the planet should experience a spar at least once in their life, because it's true that there really are no masks in that ring, and you're going to really find out a lot about yourself personally, some things that maybe you didn't know. Hopefully positive, all right? But keep gearing up towards that first sparring session. Get that equipment. Make sure you have somebody knowledgeable to watch you and make sure that things don't get out of hand, and enjoy yourself, all right? Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.